Jace, the Mind Sculptor, better than all. Are you kidding? This day has finally come. 2 weeks after I sold my From the Vault Jace the Mind Sculptors. Oh! Okay, that aside, wow, what amazing news. Jesus. I don't know what to do. The sky is falling. Everything's on fire. I quit. I can't handle it. Obviously, that's not the case. What is exciting? And Blood Braid Elf. I'm not going to talk about Blood Braid Elf. I don't play those decks. Alright, so what is going to happen? What is going to change in Modern as we know it? Now, obviously, I don't have the answers. All I have would be speculation. I can tell you what I do know. If I had the ability to run Jace in the type of Jeskai decks that I like to play, which are typically, I think the decks I like to play are just because I don't know what I want to do. I want to do some control. I want to be proactive. So I just kind of play a mix of cards. Mid-range. I think that you will probably play one Jace main, one Jace side as a start. I think that's the starting point for a non-control deck. Jace is too powerful, I think, not to include. And he's not going to be good in every matchup, right? Like, but he's always going to be a good finisher in a lot of places. I mean, even against so like right now I'm playing Karanos against Affinity. Why? Because Karanos is a good finisher. The problem with Karanos is that he doesn't immediately impact the board. Jace does. Jace is also so if you've never Jaced before, his bounce ability seems like, okay, well, you're not really dealing with a permanent, but you kind of are, because you see 4 cards after that. So let's say it's a Tarmogoyf, just making something up. If you bounce a Tarmogoyf back to an opponent's hand, you draw for the next turn, and then you brainstorm. You can probably find an answer in those 4 cards. And that can really create a snowball, and once you feel like you've stabilized and you're plussing, you're actually controlling their draw steps. If you didn't know, Jace's +2 is Fate Seal. So you look at their top card and you basically decide if you want to put it at the top or leave it at the top or put it at the bottom. So if you see a land, you're like, you can keep that. It's a land. and you know your Jace is safe. So Jace is still a fine finisher, I think, versus Affinity, because it's going to find the answers in your deck if you have permanents that you need to deal with, or for future permanents, but it's also going to help control their draws. So if you see something like a Signal Pest on top, and they don't have any other creatures, you're like, you can keep that. If you see an Edge Champion at the top, it's like, you put that on the bottom. If you put a card on the bottom and then they draw a card, and you need to find a way to deal with it, you just brainstorm instead. So I think the mid-range decks are going to run 1 or 2 copies, and I think that the current versions of Jeskai completely draw go. I think you're probably going to have, my prediction is you're going to have some people trying to run a 4 of Jace deck. And I don't know that that's going to work in the long term. And the reason I say that is I think Nahiri is actually better at that game plan. Meaning if your game plan is to be, if your game plan is, I'm going to deal with some things, play a Planeswalker, and try to win as quickly as possible, I actually think Nahiri might be better at that than Jace as far as Nahiri Emrakul. But what you're probably going to have the Drago decks run is there's going to be you're probably not going to have a singleton Nahiri anymore, or a singleton Ajani. It's going to be a singleton Jace, maybe 2 Jace. I can definitely see some of the Drago decks playing a couple of Jace in the main deck, and maybe even one side for mirror matches or matchups where he's particularly good. I don't know that they're going to end up running just straight 4, but I could be completely wrong. That might be the thing to do. I still think that, are you going to run Jace instead of Cryptic Command? That I don't know. My gut is My gut is that there's enough decks where just his minus isn't good enough. So I think that I think the control decks are going to run 2 main, 1 side. I think you're going to have some people jamming 4 Jace deck. I just don't, I haven't played enough with Jace to know if that's going to be good enough. But I do think your mid-range decks are going to be running 1 main, 1 side. That's what I'm going to do. So like well, let me show you. So this is a deck that so I went, the league that's currently being played, I played a similar version of this. I think I played this, and actually I played this at F&M. I mentioned this in the league. You'll see this tomorrow. So after I made the list with 4 electrolyzes and no P and Q&LR, I was prepping to go to F&M. It's my last F&M in the city that I live in, so my thought was, I'm just going to play whatever I want. It's going to be super fun. I want to play like dragons. I don't want to play any spell quellers. They just die to everything. I'm just going to play dragons and angels and geists and remands, because remanning things is great, and who cares if it isn't good? It's what I'm going to do. And I 4-0'd. Which was great, because I 4-0'd my last F&M, and I had a really great time, and I went out for beers after with my friends, and I really could not have asked for that event to go any better. It was very like bittersweet but warm and heartfelt at the same time. Anyway, so I was trying to legitimize this a bit more, and so that's why I'm like looking at actual Jeskai guys, no Quellers. And so in a deck like this, I think I would still, what I would start out trying is this Pia and Q&LR. Probably just take this out and put a Jace there, and probably this either of the Thundermaw. If I wanted to keep the Thundermaw angle, because I think there's a lot of Lingering Souls, probably just like one of these Cryptic Commands. That would just be out, and it'd be a Jace, and that's probably where I'm going to start. If it was something more, well, this is Jeskai Flash, there's no Geists. Okay, Jeskai Temp, it was something like this. In this version of the deck, depends on how good I think Restoration Angel is. If I don't think Restoration Angel is very good, I'd probably just take this Restoration Angel out, put a Jace the Mind Sculptor, put a Jace the Mind Sculptor in the side, and go from there. You can still make an argument for having Jaces and Karanos's, but I think the thing to start is all of your grindy cards are going to become Jaces for the moment. One interesting thing to note, by the way, for all of you guys that like playing Geist of St. Traft, he's pretty good against Jace the Mind Sculptor. And even Jace in your Geist deck, if you're looking at a Thought-Knot, I'm making something up, Thought-Knot Seer, Death Shadow, I don't know, it's just a big creature in front of your Geist. Jace does bounce big creatures so that you can attack with Geist of St. Traft. If that, this probably doesn't happen very often, but there is some world in which you play Jace, bounce, attack with Geist, they replay it, or they can't replay it, or they do because they have nothing else to do. You bounce it with Jace and attack with Geist and win. Anyway, it's super fun to see so many things unbanned in Modern. I think Modern has been in an amazing place, and I don't agree with everybody who says if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think as few cards should be on the ban list as possible. And I think that list is getting, it's been getting smaller. We tried Golgari Grave Troll. Too much. Okay, put it back on. That's fine. If we try Jason, it's too much. He can go back on, and hopefully we'll get to a point where we really know what needs to be there, and we really know what doesn't. People thought Ancestral Visions couldn't be there. Turns out that was fine. People thought that Bitter Blossom would be too good. When's the last time you saw Bitter Blossom in Modern? Almost never happens. Also, I think that I'm just like random thoughts here. Jace is probably better than Search for Escanta, obviously. He also doesn't die to these Field of Runes that I've been putting in my deck to deal with Search for Escanta. Anyway, I think Jace is going to be, a very manageable addition to the format. I don't think he's going to break Modern. I think he's going to make blue decks better. I think what he's going to do is give blue decks the inevitability that they deserve to have. I think it's kind of like if you can't I don't say if you can't beat a blue deck by turn 4, but you know, if me playing a Jace means that you just now can't win, then maybe your deck isn't good enough. Or they'll just have to adapt. I mean, Jace is good, but he's still a planeswalker. He can still be attacked. He can still be dealt with. He can still be counterspelled. He can still be discarded. He still costs 4. I mean, if you're facing down a board of like 6 affinity creatures, it's not like you're going to play Jace and be like, hey, gotcha, buddy. No, I was going to kill him or ignore him. So anyway, I don't think he's going to be nearly as scary as people think he is. I think he's going to be very good. But I think he's going to be good. I think you're basically, when I say inevitability, or I don't think I said inevitability, but closing, like if a controlled, it's not that he's just going to win the game on turn 4. But if a control deck manages to get to like turn 7 and lands a Jace, yeah, you probably going to lose. But it's turn 7. You should expect to lose against the control deck by that point in time. So anyway, those are my initial thoughts. I think it's super exciting. I love when cards get unbanned, and it's nice to sort of be on the receiving end, even though, you know, I don't really play the type of decks that would try to run 4 of Jace. Super curious to see what happens to the Miracles deck. I'm glad that stupid Merfolk, because like they were like, oh, we've been trying. I forget even the name. It's like a Merfolk. It costs 4 when it comes into play at Brainstorms. They're like, oh, it's not so bad. We're finding some success with it. Get the heck out of here. We have Jace now. So anyway, it's even though it's gonna be fun, and I play Geist, and you know what, Geist was really good against Nahiri, one shots Nahiri, and Geist is also gonna one shot Jace. I mean, if they don't have a Supreme Verdict, but they think they're playing as Jace, and you're able to resolve a Geist of Saint draft, you know, they can't just like, sure, they can untap and Brainstorm. They're playing 4 mana to Brainstorm because you're gonna completely kill their Jace after that. Anyway, I'm just sort of waffling now. I'm excited. I think unbans are good for the format. I think it's important to unban cards and give them a chance. I think that unbanning Jace alongside a card that makes Jund better makes sense to me. Also alongside a card that is known to proactively kill Jace. I think Jace is obviously much stronger than Bloodbraid Elf, but it's not like, you know, Bloodbraid Elf into Liliana's or into Colligan's commands. It's still going to be, you know, very good. And I think with Bloodbraid Elf back in the format, with, you know, there's new 3-drops. Like I said, Colligan's command. There's the Goblin that makes other goblins. I mean, there is. Well, I guess Kalida's cost 4, but there's, you know, there's been new things in the format. Temur can play, or I guess not. See, yeah, Temur could technically play Bloodbraid Elf into Ancestral Visions, and like I said, I think we want to get as many. You know, I think in a perfect world we have as few things in the ban list as possible, but there is no ambiguity about the things that are on that ban list. Things like Dark Depths, for example, or Blazing Shoal. It's just like, yes, these are clearly, you know, treasure cruise. Things where it's like they're obviously so busted. But when you have cards like Bloodbraid Elf and Jace, where people, like, you have half camp that's like it'd be fine and half the camp that's not, and it's really not really sure, it's time to unban it and test it. So I'm really excited. If you play Jeskai Control, you get a new card. If you play Jeskai at all, you get a new card. If you play Esper, oh man, Esper's going to be nuts. Like, discard into Jace, or discard into Lingering Souls to make blockers for a Jace. Esper's looking pretty cool too. So anyway, it's a brave new world, ladies and gentlemen. I am looking forward to living in it. It is a nice revitalization, breath of fresh air, new stuff. And you know what? If it's busted, whatever, it's modern. We'll just give it 6 months and ban it later, and I think that's fine. And people will be salty because they bought Jaces, but you know what? You're buying one of the best cards in the entire game. So you get, kind of comes with a clause that, like, you know, no money back guarantee kind of a thing. All right, well, that's it for me for tonight. I hope that you guys enjoyed the Modern League posted today. There will be another one tomorrow. Talk to you soon. Until then, bye for now.